Welcome to Learning.com. I'm going to demonstrate Easytech keyboarding and word processing, a combination product that teaches students how to use technology through the keyboard. We've all seen plenty of keyboarding games online, but Easytech keyboarding does a bit more, giving students technology and reading skills along with keyboarding skills. When you're done with this tutorial, your students will be able to log in and see a clean, simple student interface with just the assignments you give them in the sequence you set. Let's get started. When you log in, you'll see your teacher interface. Let's take a look at what Learning.com has to offer. Click Curriculum. All the products your district has activated will appear here. All of keyboarding is included within Easytech, but we also offer keyboarding separately. Let's take a look at Easytech keyboarding. Keyboarding is divided into multiple units for different grade levels and starting skills. For students just learning to identify all the letters and keys, we've got Finding Keys for K1. The lessons in this unit start with letter and key comprehension and ties each letter to reading rather than just typing. Finger placement for grade 2 shows students how to begin to touch type, starting with the ergonomics of the keyboard and moving on to finger placement from the home row out. Students practice typing with on-screen cues for hand position. Finger placement for grades 6 to 12 provides similar instruction, but in a more grown-up interface, so that older students who haven't learned the keyboard yet don't feel like they're being talked down to. These items also include longer practice sessions. Each of these units presents several short lessons that students can go through once or repeat a few times. Once students have a basic understanding of the keyboard and finger placement, it's time to use prescriptive keyboarding. Let's go into that unit. There are two versions of prescriptive keyboarding. Let's go into the version for grades 3 through 5. Just like every other keyboarding item, clicking the name brings up teacher notes and details about class time and subject. To preview prescriptive keyboarding, click the View button. Prescriptive keyboarding starts with some of the same lessons we saw in the earlier units. They're presented here for introductory practice and aren't part of your students' overall score in their gradebook. Let's go on to practices. Every student will start with their first timeout that goes from basic keys up to the most advanced reaches and combinations. The keyboarding system prompts students with graphics and sound, so you'll probably want to use speakers or headphones with your students. Every lesson ends with detailed score, speed, and accuracy information to encourage the student. Based on the student's performance on each key, prescriptive keyboarding will generate customized practices that cover just this student's problem areas. Practices will start with the most basic errors and slowly build up to punctuation, the number row, and difficult reaches. Each practice takes just a few minutes. In this example, the main practices menu will present practices based on my previous errors. The system tracks not only where I made mistakes, but exactly what kind of mistakes I made. Because most of my errors were on the semicolon key, and my most common error was hitting A with my left hand instead of semicolon with my right, prescriptive keyboarding will create a practice that works on left-right confusion with the pinky fingers. Practices always present random letter sets. To try some English sentences, go to the library. There are practices here that go over just a few letters at a time, and story challenges that require the full range of punctuation and capitalization. Even experienced computer users can gain something, but it starts easily enough so that any student who understands hand placement can start here. Students receive an overall words per minute rating based on their performance in all practices. But as a teacher, you'll be able to generate reports on your students' performance that go way beyond just words per minute. Here's a sample report. We've got the student's performance history showing improvement, along with a heat map of their accuracy with problem keys. There's a section down here that explains the logic behind current recommendations for the student. There's also a full report that shows how they did on every single practice. All this keyboarding material will make sure your students master the keyboard. Easytech keyboarding also gives them the skills they need to use word processing software. Use the breadcrumb trail at the top to back out of prescriptive keyboarding to get back to your curriculum sequence. After prescriptive keyboarding, the following units teach word processing. The units for word processing here teach the tools in a generic interface that works great for students using multiple operating systems and software suites. These lessons give students the skills for Word just as well as OpenOffice or even Google Documents. Word processing for grades 3 to 5 teaches both how to create documents and how to compose essays and reports successfully. While students learn word processing tools, they're also learning composition skills. For grades 6-8, we've created a more advanced word processing unit. Along with software skills, students will learn how to format reports correctly, revise their writing, and create APA and MLA citations. This lesson covers the tools needed to create footnotes and best practices to avoid plagiarism. Navigating interfaces helps students manage windows and toolbars and goes on to the ribbon interfaces from newer software. Different versions of Word and OpenOffice have slightly different ribbon styles, and the lessons here cover several possible variations. While our Easytech lessons work to give students the skills they need to navigate any software, the latest version of Office includes many changes to navigation and revision tools. We've created new material to cover Office 2007 and 2010 specifically. The last unit here breaks Office into dozens of discrete tasks. Each item demonstrates the skill and gives students tips on successful composition. Below each video, students can see a complete transcript. Okay, I like these Office 2010 lessons, and I'd like to assign them to my students. In the left-hand toolbar, click My Classes. Then click the Desk button toward the bottom of the toolbar to create a new class. Type in a name for the class. Remember that a class can be a single section or a larger group of students who all need the same assignment sequence. Now we're ready to add some assignments. My curriculum will still be selected in the main window. I can click Assign next to each item, or click Assign Unit to assign everything included in this unit to my students. One note about prescriptive keyboarding. Since prescriptive keyboarding always has something new for students and can't be completed like other learning objects, it's best to assign it in its own class or at the end of a class sequence. Just like that, we've got a curriculum sequence set up for this class. To track individual student performance, each student needs their own account. Click the Student tab in the left-hand toolbar, then click Enroll Students toward the bottom. If I'm in an existing district, I should already see students listed here, but if my district is brand new, I can click Create a New Student here. All I need to do is type in their information and click Save. I'm going to skip over typing the information in for a few students. Once a few students are entered, click the check boxes to the left of a student, and then click Enroll Selected. My students are ready to go. To give them their login info, just click the class name at the upper left. This will bring up the class gradebook. Go to Print Login Cards. Students will log in just like I do at www.learning.com. When they log in, they will see the student view of the sequence I've created. That's how to browse and use the material in Easytech keyboarding. Thanks